Yo, test test 1 2. Okay, looks like that's working. So yeah, hello friends. This is Dark Scream. It's been a while. It is an absurd time of day. It's 8 in the morning. Why am I streaming at 8 in the morning? Well, I didn't sleep very well. And today is the last day for the Pirate Software Game Jam number 15. We've got a day left before submissions lock. So what I thought I'd do is showcase my submission, and then maybe we'll playtest it a little bit, see if we can break it. And then tomorrow, or maybe later this week, I thought I would check out some of the other submissions as well. So here's mine. The theme for this game jam was alchemy and shadows. So we created a game called Asqueria Distilled Soul. It's a short one-shot adventure. It's kind of side story to the other game, Asqueria Origins of the Dream. This one actually occurs quite far in the future. Same universe, same world, different time period. What we ended up doing was recycling the combat engine because I liked how I customized the combat and how I set up the skills, but everything else is brand new, right? New maps, new characters, new story, new monsters, new game. So on the page, of course, we have our game design document linked. If you happen to visit this page and this applet isn't here, please note I'm probably updating it at that exact moment. Uses some standard RPG Maker controls. So what's this game about? Well, as you may or may not know, Asqueria is my, I guess you'd call it a homebrew tabletop RPG campaign. It's been my setting for many years. Eventually, I decided to go ahead and take it into other things. I take it into a few different tabletop RPG settings. I've tried D&D 3.5. We don't talk about 4th, but we tried 5th. We tried Pathfinder. We tried our own custom system. So it's been a lot of things, and I figured I could kind of reshape that universe to fit into RPG Maker games, and that's what I did. This game takes place in the 4th era of Asqueria, which is kind of a more modern era. The game takes place in a place called the Marsh Ephemeral, which is kind of a superstitious swamp. It's a swamp, marshy kind of nation. It's got a lot of superstitious people. The swamps sometimes have spooky ghosts. And underneath the swamp, there's a cavern system that leads into an area called the World Below, where there are non-human humanoid races, like rat people and Underdark kind of races, right? So anyway, here in the Marsh Ephemeral, at this point, they were kind of at a point of divide for their society, as there's this disease that came in, and they were alchemy specialists. They used every kind of alchemy under the sun. However, due to some techniques that were discovered, they decide to favor one school of alchemy called spirit alchemy. Fortunate for the shadow alchemists in the audience. So they've got this technique called soul distillation, and essentially what this does is it lets them kind of transmute their own spirits, their own souls, to separate their inner shadow, all their dark thoughts and bad memories and painful experiences, right? All that stuff, they can just boil that off, put it into a bottle, and forget about it. Go live a happy life as a pure-hearted person. Except there's a problem with that, which is, can you really be separate from your inner shadow? And what happens to that inner shadow if you let it run wild on its own? Well, this game answers that question. So you follow the journey of the Curious Shade and some other distilled souls. They meet up with some of their friends in this shadowy prison and make their way out, face down their captors. Pretty straightforward. It's an RPG with about 5 or 6 maps. Uh, Honestly, it's probably a little long for the game jam. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a couple hours to beat, but it's fairly short in terms of RPGs in this genre, right? You'd think of those games taking 20, 30, 40 hours. This is not that. You could probably sit down and beat this in one day, one play session if you really wanted to. Might take a couple hours though. So, main features, I created 4 characters with unique alchemy themed classes. We have the Curious Shade. Her thing is light and shadow, so she's able to kind of transmute herself to become a creature of light or a creature of shadow. This changes her magics, kind of brings her from a white mage to a black mage, back and forth. The next one is the Raging Shade. A Pyrotechnist is the name of the class she has. Essentially, it's kind of like a gun mage, right? Like a rifle wizard, if you understand what I'm saying. So she is a fire, lightning, light magic user, alchemy user. Everything in the game is called alchemy, not magic. That's important to remember. She also has a berserk ability, like a physical berserker class might have. But again, she's kind of a gun mage. So we call this combust. In rather than boosting her physical attack, it boosts her elemental damage with the types that she's specialized in. And I think that lasts 3 rounds, and it turns into a auto battle or berserk status. Weeping Shade. So he's kind of the tanky um, counter alchemy specialist. He's the one who wears heavy armor. He's the party tank. He specializes in like water, ice, and acid type moves. And he's a special move called Alkahest, which is counter alchemy. Essentially, he puts this buff on himself, and it works similarly to, I guess, something like from Final Fantasy VI, Celeste's Runic, which would absorb a spell. So it's kind of like that. And then the Envious Shade. He's sick with jealousy and the plague. He's an apothecary. He specializes in more traditional herbalism, potion, and plant-based alchemy. His special ability is Analyze, which is like a scan spell like you would have in many RPGs that reveals the stats and strengths and weaknesses of the target. Features of the game. So we have a crafting system. Rather than powerful items dropping off monsters or buying them from vendors for gold, what you do is you buy a base item, and then you take it to the crafting vendor station and exchange the base item and some materials for a better item. And so you really can't afford to get everything. You really have to make choices in which equipment you're going to buy. This creates some replayability because every game is a little different. I've tried to randomize some stuff so it's a little bit different if you do play through again. Especially, there are also what I like to call roguelike loot, roguelike rewards. So this is similar to what you see in a lot of roguelikes, a lot of like speedrunner challenge games, those types of things where you're presented, survivor-like as well, where you're presented with pick one of 3, right? So you get 3 cool powers or items or rewards put in front of you. You only get to pick one. So a lot of times this will be a really powerful item compared to what your character is wearing. These occur at story events. So as you're progressing through the maps and the levels, each map has a number of these loot events that happens when you complete a story objective. Minor feature, but this game, I did base it around one free soundtrack that's part of the RPG Maker engine assets. It's called the Cosmic Music Pack, I believe. So there are quite a few banger songs in it, honestly, and I thought it would be nice to make a menu where you could play those songs if you had heard them. As well, you can control the background music in the camp, in the home base. So you can listen to whatever song you like while you're doing your shopping and sleeping at the inn or whatever. And as mentioned before, I think it might have said Era 4, but it's Era 5, the Era of Corruption. The interesting thing about Era 5 is it has 2 names. It's the Era of Corruption and the Age of Phlogistic Travel. Essentially, it depends on the perspective of the historian what to call the era. For some nations, they're looking towards the stars. They're building up um, to do kind of a spelljammer, steampunk kind of space travel that occurs in this universe. The era of corruption, on the other hand, is kind of accepting that the world is going to shit, and that is why people are looking to the stars to escape. So the era of corruption, really, if you have that perspective, it's about kind of embracing your shadow, your corruption, which I thought fit the game nicely. And this is why I really like Asqueria, my homebrew setting, an IP, I guess, is it's got 7 eras, a massive world, and a massive amount of history that all lives in my brain. So I feel like no matter what the theme or the plan is, I can always bust out some part of Asqueria that will fit, like it did for Pirate Jam 15. So here we see the theme here, alchemy and shadows. Obviously, hopefully the way I've described this game, you can see how it ties in. All the main characters are alchemists. Everything's alchemy themed. They're shadows. They're shades of their former selves, trapped in a shadowy prison. One thing I learned last Game Jam is you can't be subtle with your theme implementation, as people will say you didn't follow the theme. So this time, I made sure to just hit you in the face with the theme just right out of the gate. It's called Distilled Soul. Can't get any more themed than that. And we can check out a couple of the screenshots here, and I'll go play the game for maybe half an hour or so. I did create custom sprites. Many of these are using the character generator, so I am using built-in parts from the engines, kind of like Mr. Potato Head. Once I make the base model, though, then I take it into Photoshop, into GIMP, actually, is the software I use, and I do modifications. So, for example, I generated this black sprite in the engine. All the other ones, the green, the blue, the purple, all the different variations that we have, those I did by hand in Photoshop, right? So, we're getting some variety that's not available in the default assets, especially the colors and the way things look. I don't have to adhere to like an 8-bit or 16-bit color profile, so I don't. And then this one actually shows the progression of the characters. So as you go through the game, you are reliving and re-experiencing the memories that have been kind of siphoned off of these people. And as they recover their memories, they recover their physical form as well. So you have a visual indication of your progress through the game. So why don't we try it? Alright, now I personally like turning down the master volume a bit. Usually I like doing it just like that. Battle animations, I'll leave those slow. Animated tiles should be on. I don't know why that's off. Okay, groovy. And in case you're wondering, here are the credits for the assets and the plugins and the engine that I've used. It's not that much, actually. It's less than the original Asqueria game. The big thing is it's an RPG Maker game with the Yanfly engine, so you kind of know what you're getting there, right? Still, I think I've created a lot of variety. So let's read the Alchemist's Journal. It's our introduction. In the world of Asqueria, on the continent of Gilder, lays a land known as the Marsh Ephemeral, an isolated, swampy nation with a superstitious peoples, practitioners of all forms of alchemy, blood, phyto, shadow, spirit, whatever you can imagine. At least, until the wasting plague came. While it seems there is no cure, the symptoms can be treated or managed using spirit alchemy. This discovery led to the outlaw of all other alchemical schools. Of course, we didn't listen. The punishment was worse than we could have imagined. They alchemized our spirits, extracted all the emotion and memory they considered impure. And so there's some version of us out there still living our lives, while we're trapped in here, nothing but distilled souls. Until now. I think I've finally found them. I just hope this plan works. And welcome to Distilled Soul. So you have a nice little introduction here from the Curious Shade, who will tell you what you can do, where you can go. It's a pretty light introduction and tutorial. And you can see here we've got a little quest window telling us where to go, what to do. So this is our town. We've got a little sign here pointing out what we can do. So to the north we have the music menu and the piano. We also have tutorials in the bookshelf. So if you want to know how the game works, how the stats work, all that stuff, just a nice big help menu on the bookshelf. And then up here, up the stairs, there's a portal that'll take you to the level or the map. To the right, we have an inn. The inn is pretty kind. The currency cost to rest at the inn is pretty low. And if you don't have the currency, they will just set you to 0 gold and let you rest anyway. So if you happen to be broke, you can still sleep. The Succedaneum is kind of a coliseum. It's not fully implemented at this point, but the concept is each time you complete a map, the monsters from that map, the encounters, are added to the coliseum. So if you want to practice or farm mobs before you go to the next level, you can do that. Last but not least, certainly not, is Synthesis down south. Those where all the vendors are. Starting actually with that cauldron there, you can make consumables, potions, and raise items, dispel items, that kind of thing. And then each area has its own specialty. There's a weapon and offhand and shield vendor, there's an armor vendor, there's a skills vendor, and there's a consumable vendor, as well as a place where you can exchange your elemental motes, a place where you can sell items. So most vendors will not accept, they don't let you sell items, but at this particular NPC you can. We talk to this person. They're apparently broken. Okay, I'll have to fix that. But as you can see, you can buy a base item for a very small amount of currency, and you take that base item. Oh, they're not working because we haven't actually beaten any levels yet. So this opens up as you beat more levels and more items unlock. Here you can see it's 2-for-1 exchange, so it's not great. But if you really need one of the elemental motes to do some crafting, you can trade in 2 of a different kind to acquire them. And down here we have the armor vendor. So the armor vendor is split into armor and helmets in one menu, and then we did traditionally called accessories. We call them trinkets in the other menu. This doesn't belong there, so we'll have to fix that. Then you go to the synthesizer, and it's much the same thing. So you can see you take a base item like a ring, you combine it with a mote like a fire mote. Simple ring plus fire mote equals ruby ring, which reduces your flame damage taken by 5%, reduce your light damage taken, reduce your frost damage, your water damage. So each item has some special effect associated with it. And down at the bottom here we have just crediting the event and what we're doing. We also have an interesting fellow here who you may recognize, as well as an interesting fellow here who you may recognize. Just a little nod. Okay, what else can I show you in town? Yeah, we've got the potion vendor. And the one thing I haven't mentioned here is the void crystal. So this little black crystal ball here will give you a little hint and preview about the next map and some of the things that might be going on, but it's supposed to be vague and weird and abstract, right? I'll spoil this one though, way to the left side by 13 Shades. So on the first map, you have the option to talk or fight with the NPCs on the map. You can kill them all if you want, you can avoid them all if you want. If you kill them all, you will get a different boss at the end of the map. than if you didn't kill them. So, just the Curious Shade alone is a little bit weak. As we go into our first memory here, we're probably going to avoid combat until we can get to an ally. You can see here I'm using the mouse input, the touch input. This does work with keyboard as well. But you have to hold shift to run, and that's kind of annoying. So we need to find we can see in the top right corner, we need to find the Raging Shade, the Weeping Shade, the Envious Shade. So we want to look for a character who looks a little different. I can see one here. The Raging Shade is quite an angry person. A powerful person, but an angry person. Yep, definitely powerful and angry, but calm down, Raging Shade. What if there was a way to face your captors and blow off some steam along the way? And so our story begins. We start gathering allies in this weird prison, and when we achieve story events, we will get a party level. So this game doesn't have XP points. You don't get XP from combat. You don't have to farm mobs to level up. Your level is going to be set by the story events, and then each map you will just be leveled up to a specific level. So you don't really have to worry about it too much. That said, when you complete something like this, it's going to give you a pretty decent boost in power, as we'll see. Now, no skills are learned in the level bracket, so when you level up, it's just stats that you're gaining. Skills occur at level 6, 16, 26, 36, 46, and 56, and every level is separated by a 10-level band. Now we can see here this character's been added to my party, but they're still on the map. That's a little visual bug I should fix. Here's another thing that happens. This is the pick 3 I was talking about. So when you complete a story event, sometimes you'll be presented with equipment that you could craft in town, and it's pretty expensive to craft. Or you could just get it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this alchemical laser, because it's quite strong. That's a gun for our pyrotechnist. You can see here, that's a pretty significant boost in damage. Weapons are about a quarter of the stats that a character will gain. The 3 armor slots are about a quarter of the stats the character will gain, and then half their power just comes from their class and their level. However, the alchemical laser does light damage, which is going to do quite good here, since this is a prison full of shadow people. Now, these shadow people, you can just talk to them. Uh-oh. You're trapped in here with me. The angry shades will attack you if you talk to them too much, so... Now, we have our first look at combat. So, I think I mentioned at the start the combustibility. The gun mage can kind of just go berserker mode. And there we go. Now I don't have to control them, and they're going to hit like a truck. Now, as for the Curious Shade, I have Shadow Alchemy and a couple spells here. Murker, which is just a darkness spell, and it requires Mix, which is like a combo point that builds up as you take actions. The third one is Sanguisana. Any spell with the word Sana in it is going to relate to healing in some way. Sanguisana is a blood magic healing spell, though, so what it does is it lets you sacrifice your own health to put an absorb shield on someone. I don't really think we need that right now, so I'm going to do a Transmute. Transmute, as you can hopefully tell by the color, will switch her from shadowy mode to light mode. Transmuted with a silvery gleam. We get a different model, a different face, and different powers. Oh, yeah. So she hits like a truck. And this is the first map, right? We don't want it to be too challenging. My berserking gun mage missed her attack, so it's going to take another round. Bonk. Is that enough? Oh! It's not an... And now he's going to use a self-destruct and blow up on me. Luckily, he did fire damage to the fire mage, so it didn't hurt that bad. Now, you can see here, at the end of every combat, we're going to get some Umbra, which is our currency, and some motes have a chance to drop as well. And no XP, no levels. So again, I'll show you here. This number does not change. This never moves. We never gain XP. We just gain a level at story events. We can also see our stats. So, for example, our gun mage here naturally resists the elements that she's good with: fire, thunder, wind, and light. Likewise, our Argyropian? I don't know if I've said that out loud, but one of the alchemy words I learned, this involves attempting to transmute things into silver, or doing chemistry with silver, so I thought it was an appropriate name. Okay, and we can see she's got a discount on her mana cost, which is pretty nice. And she, in this form, resists light damage. Okay, cool. So another feature of this game is, obviously, you're going to see something like this and go, that looks like a wall, but is a wall? No, it's a secret passageway. That said, if you want to open up random treasure chests that are surrounded by slime pods with baby slimelets, you shouldn't necessarily expect a good outcome. Yeah. So we get a random number of slimes in the slime fiesta. We're just gonna combust. She has a couple skills, like a fire damage skill and a lightning skill, I think, but combustion's just where it's at this level. So I could Sancti for some holy damage, or I could Lumisana for some healing. I'm gonna throw some healing on the gun mage. Especially because while she's berserking, she constantly ticks for damage, so her health is going down. Boom, fully healed. Perfect. Destroyed in one hit. That's what we like to see. Oozes are not a difficult enemy. Actually, she's going to do all the work, isn't she? Yep. Sick. And so from the enemies, we got some Umbra and a couple of motes. And then from the chest, we actually got one of each mote. And that's going to be pretty important to us later. I'm seeing people walk through these ball and chains on the ground. That is a bug. I think I need to make that unpassable terrain. Okay, so now we need to find the Weeping Shade and the Envious Shade. Let's see. I'll have a random encounter first. Looks like 3 blue shades of some kind. Watery ooze. Okay, so I'm going to use Thunder on all of them. Pretty good. Water is weak to Thunder. They're going to use water attacks on me. That's... ow. They do a lot of damage. But I believe their time is over. We'll cast Light and Thunder again, and that should take care of them. Yep. You can see here the Cleric with light damage attacks doing less damage to the water oozes than the mage with lightning spells. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, if we look at our inventory, we've got a few potions here. I think it's an appropriate time to use these. Potions do 25% of your health at once. Now, healing is probably a little overpowered still. I think the heals are doing a little too much. But in this first level, it really feels necessary because the balance of combat is a little off when your party is small. So, we want to get through here, but there's guys blocking the way. Now, if you had read the tutorials at the bookshelf in the starting level, you'll be better prepared for these questions. Each of these blue guys is gonna try and quiz us about alchemy. Now, if you get it right, they'll move out of the way. If you get it wrong, you will find yourself in a fight. The first thing he's gonna ask is alchemy. Which of these is not actually a type of alchemy? Now, I'll give you a hint. We actually wrote the answer on the page here. Did you read it? And so if you answer their question correctly, they'll just get out of the way for you. Nice, right? Alright, let's see what the next guy wants. This one I believe is randomized, so he'll do some stuff. A memory game, yeah, so he's gonna do some stuff for us, and then it'll be one of a few questions. He shows 5 fingers on his left hand. He shows 4 fingers on his right hand. He shows 3 fingers on both hands. 5, 4, 3, and 3. Which hand did he use in which order? It was right, left, both, right? I wrote this and I don't remember. That was not the right answer. I guess I'm a phony. And as we know, depressed shades hate phonies. So he should be a different color. He should be a blue shade, not a red shade. Because he's weak to thunder. So we'll have to fix that. Well, he's been eliminated from the map, though, so we don't have to worry about it. Let's see what this guy wants. He loves the element of water, but he can't remember anything about it. So what's correct for water? Well, you could probably guess without having done your research. The answer was also provided on the tutorial bookshelf. You'd also might have gotten it by now if you've been watching the skills that certain monsters have used and the items that they drop, and also just the name of the item. I think we understand this one's going to be the water one, right? Perfect. This guy looks different. Let's talk to him. Let's open our Windows menu. Let's talk to him. Yeah, what's the point in not trying? Come on, old man. Are you saying you're happier sitting here in a puddle of your own tears? Well, no, he's not. He and his puddle of tears are going to join the party. And we're going to get some party levels. So again, we're going to level up. No new skills learned. This is just making the game, we're more powerful. Our stats and level are going up. And we are going to get to choose another pick 3. So, let's take a look. We've got a medium helm that makes us maybe blind targets and also resist damage. We have the Helm of Hubris taunt rate. So, in RPG Maker, there's a stat that determines how likely it is an enemy to attack which party member. And if you make that stat go up, that party member becomes more likely to be targeted. So it's good to have that on your heavy armor user. So I think I'm going to take the Helm of Hubris. Now if I go to his stats, you can see here, aggro rate 150%. So he naturally has a higher aggro rate. Now he's got a really high aggro rate. So he should get targeted by enemies more often than the squishier party members. And if we look at his stats, 42 defense, physical defense, so he's pretty tanky. Alright, let's get out of here. Oh, if we go to this green plant on the rock, that's some alchemical herbs. There's a lot of treasures and things around in the game. Oh, slime fiesta. We actually want to do fire, I think. Not as impressive as some of our previous casts. When you do split the spell across multiple targets, it does split the damage, as opposed to focusing it on one. So I tried to make the tier 1 spell versatile, so you can do AoE if you want, but it's split damage. The tier 2 and tier 3 spells have AoE damage that is not split. We're going to do the light damage attack though, because Sanguine Ooze is blood element, and Defiled Ooze is dark element, so I believe they're all weak to light. Now, we've got our Weeping Shade for the first time here, so he's got water and cloud-themed magic. He also has Postures, which are no cost, permanent duration, well, duration of the combat. Right now he only has this one, which will increase his defenses, but lower his attack. But he'll get a number of these postures, and you can set these stances whenever you like in combat, and they kind of let him decide, just have a little more tactical variance in his play. The other power he has is Alchemist, which I'll activate now. That's like the counter alchemy, counter spell type thing. Alright, we're out of mix points, so we're just going to combust. That light magic spell's going off. It didn't actually do that much damage. Oh, there we go, okay. It hit the blood ooze pretty hard. Now, oozes, when they get at low health, have a tendency to self-destruct, kind of like bombs from Final Fantasy. Remember those? However, the self-destruct would, or that will, get absorbed by the Alchemist. Very nice. So we protected ourselves from damage there. Now we're going to take some hits, but that's okay. You'll also notice the enemy animations slow down as their health gets lower. So the squishy slimes are not so squishy now that they're almost dead. Raging Shade combusts. Now you may notice it's kind of like ATB, active battle, but it's not fully active. When a menu comes up, it does pause. That's just the nature of this plugin. It's kind of outside my time frame to be able to change that much. But still, I think I do prefer this active battle more than the totally turn-based system of Asqueria Origins, so maybe I'll bring that over. I'm not sure yet. Some good loot. Okay, and we're going to loot these herbs. And any one of these guys that are just walking around, you can talk to them. And they have a bunch of, I think most of them have 3 or 4 different phrases, so it's a little randomized, right? You're not always getting the same responses. This guy's not doing a good job of showing that. There we go. Here's another one. And if you decide you don't like them, you can just fight them. Oh. And occasionally you might find one who's not set up properly. That one's going in my notepad for bugs to fix. Yeah, you're not supposed to see that bat ever. That's a placeholder for if something goes wrong. Okay, now, obviously we want to talk to this envious shade, but there's a... locked. We can't. Won't let us through. I don't know why it's the door is disappearing. That shouldn't happen. But these guys here, he says if I give him a phlegm of doubt, he'll buzz off. Well, there we go. Had to give up some resources, but he wants a pound of flesh. And this guy? He just wants some Umbra. Some currency. So we got them to move all out of the way. What about these guys? Doesn't look like these twin shades are gonna move for us, so that leaves us only one option. Jealous shades, they're green. I believe they're wind elemental. So I don't think I have anything good, I'll just combust. Wind elemental will be weak to earth spells, and I'm not sure that I have Gaia on anyone yet. I think I'll just spend this turn healing, and just attack. Very good. Clunk. These guys have a little more health than some of the trash mobs. They're kind of like a mini-boss, right? Oh shit. Poison spell. Okay, this fight might take a sec. Luckily my Berserker Mage is just gonna keep lasering. That's good. Let's just throw it on Shade B then, and then you are gonna Alkahest. Because if they cast more spells, I don't want to get hit by them. Okay, that's a good hit. We'll absorb the next alchemy effect. So that's good, because they were about to silence us. So he soaked up the silence, didn't take any damage. Looks like the status effect still applies. That's not what I intended. He's getting slapped around. The Berserker, unfortunately, making a poor targeting choice, and now she's not berserking though, so now I can. Okay, good. We're okay. So we'll throw Sancti. We're silenced now, so we can't cast any spells. We just have to attack. I think we got it. Oh, he barely lived. Oh, damn. Okay, we're poisoned. That's not ideal. Okay, we cleared them out. Yeah, that's right. I killed all them. There's no way you could stop me. So now I've got the key, I guess. Ooh, that's a problem. We don't have a way to cure poison. We will next level, but we might just be, Oh, you know what? I think Buddy Boy here actually can do it for us. So now we've got the gate open. Got some alchemical herbs we can pick up. And then who's this guy? He's the Envious Shade, that's who. You don't need to keep this safe spot to yourself, but you've got a friends and family now. You're good. We'll get your lost memories back. He doesn't even remember that he's losing his memories in this weird dimensional prison. Again, with the visual bug, I guess I have to disappear the NPC right after I add them to the party. Because I'm doing the rewards segment first, and that means there's 2 Envious Shades on the screen right now. One here and one here. So, put that in my notepad for bugs. Party join, hide map NPC. So we get 2 party levels and a choose an item. 2 party levels is nice, just go ahead. Now they are all different levels, and it does depend what order. You can pick them up in any order, so the one you pick up first will be the highest level. When you go to the second level, everyone gets set to level 16, so you don't have to worry about one character falling behind. It'll all even out. Alright, and they're going to let us choose a body armor or a trinket. Okay. We have some options here. So medium armor can be worn by the Curious Shade or the one we just got, the Envious Shade. They both wear medium. Trinkets can be worn by anybody. 5% damage resist and some magic defense. It's okay, but I'm thinking this one right here, this Plasma Plastron. Extra fire and thunder damage. It's light armor, so it'll go on the gun mage. She already has the weapon, too. So she is actually getting pretty strong. It's only a little bit more defenses, but the important part is this. Flame and thunder damage by 5%. Behind him, there's a chest with some loot. And then out here, there's another one of these secret wall doors here, hidden pathway. And there's a whole bunch of alchemical herbs, so for the observant player, there's a whole lot of loot over here. And then what's this over here? Well, we have a treasure chest with a very valuable crafting item. You'll find a couple of these through the game, and then right before the last boss, you can use them to craft some super powerful items. We also have this, which is called an Alchemist Boon. There's a few of these hidden throughout the game. And again, it's a pick one of 3, except this time it's going to offer us to learn some skills. It'll give us an item we can consume to teach a character a skill. I haven't played with Soul Pollen yet, so I'm gonna do that. Who should learn Soul Pollen? Probably put it on him. Okay. And then we're still poisoned on the Pyrotechnist. Does he have Natural Remedy yet? No, he doesn't. Oh, wait. Yes, he does. Remove all bleed, curse, poison, and soul rot effects. That'll do. Big chunk of mana, but you know, what are you gonna do? Alright, and so now it says, confront the swag gang blocking the path and escape back to the hideaway. Okay. I like the click to move doesn't automatically take you through the secret passages either. That's nice. Make them actually work for it. So we're going to go around and around, and you can fight every one of these wandering NPCs if you want to. They're good money and resources. The amount of Umbra that you have is completely related to how much you fight, and that'll be your resource for buying things when you get back to town. That said, I think I'm ready to just fight the swag. They're the Shadow Wizard Alchemy Gang. I couldn't resist the acronym, it was too good. So you want them to move. They don't want to move because they're, you know, the dominant, I guess, gang in this area of the prison. And this is kind of our power-up moment for the party, right? Our little bit of, I guess you could call it the Avengers moment. They all power up. So in this segment, they actually activate their special abilities. So when you start combat, they're all going to have a little bit of a bonus. So we start enraged, we start regenerating, and we start with an alchemist. Which is good, because this is a party of 4, so they're a little tough. And again, the sprites, they're not all supposed to be green and red. I think there's a blue and a pink one that's supposed to be showing up, so I'll have to take a look at that. So we'll throw Sanctity, light damage on all enemies. We'll throw Aegir, water damage on all enemies. We'll throw Lahana, toxic damage on all enemies. realizing I didn't even have the Twitch chat open, although I doubt anyone's here. If you are, you can say hi now, because now I can see you. No, the only person talking is getting banned. Manage suspicious user. Yep, that fella won't ever be talking in the channel again. Alright, good stuff. Cleaning up the chat. Now, it was a pretty profitable combat round. We got them all about half dead. The Berserker's speed might be too high. She's getting like almost 1.5, 2 actions for everyone else, so I might have to nerf her agility a little bit. That's really strong. So I'll just throw water on everyone again, I think. I think that combo of spells worked fine. Oh, you're out of juice. Okay, you can just attack. Alright, we'll just use some attacks here. Build up some mix. So mix is AP action points from the RPG Maker system. Just kind of rethemed it different. You'll notice everyone has mix, but not everyone has MP. MP is reserved for healing spells only. So mana points are for healers, not for spellcasters. Okay, so right here is where the game determines which boss you're getting. Looks like we got the Spirit Guardian because I didn't kill very many shades. If you go around and you kill all these shadow guys, you'll get a different boss. Loot the herbs. Forgot the face graphic on this message. Okay. Now I have a Spirit Guardian. This is a light-themed boss. This is essentially a construct that the spirit alchemists have placed in the prisons to, you know, be a guard, I guess. Now, since it is light-themed, it's gonna not take a lot of damage. It'll take less damage from the Pyromancer. And I think I'll switch back to dark mode on her so I can use shadow spells. We'll use an alchemist to absorb, and let's analyze just because we haven't done that one yet. Switch to dark mode. We created the absorption for the next alchemical attack. Then analyze. This is our scan ability. This is what we're dealing with here. So, actually, this character's stats are pretty low compared to ours. Resists light and it's weak to darkness. It's got 1,000 health, which is quite a bit at this level. And it does double attack, so it does put out some damage. It's not going to take mega damage from that alchemical laser because it's a light damage weapon. However, if we throw Merker at it, we should do some good hit here. I guess you can do Aegir and you can do poison. That's probably fine. Why does this alarm keep going off on my phone? I'm going to turn that off. Okay. Now this first level looks like it took me about half an hour. So that's a lot considering it's just this, right? It's just one map. We should finish off the boss here. Yep. And not too bad. The party took a little damage, but I didn't feel like we were significantly threatened. You know, we weren't gonna game over You could game over if you get in too many fights before you get your party members. Once you've got all 4, it's fine. So at the end of the map, you'll have a little portal you can step into that says you've synthesized your memories and you can go back to the hideaway. If you did want to go back and, you know, loot some treasures or whatever, you could say no, and of course it'll kick you off. But we're ready to go. We'll go back to town. And so what happens when we get back to town? Well, everybody goes to level 16. So this is what I meant when I said there's no EXP and you only level from story events. Each map has a level band of 10 levels. And then when you proceed to the next map, you just go to the next bracket, right? So you don't have to worry about an individual character falling behind or anything like that. You don't need to worry about grinding or make sure you keep pace. The game sets you at the level you're meant to be, and the part where you have influence over your powers, the equipment and the skills you choose to learn, stuff like that will be how you can optimize and do better. So you can see we hit level 16 and boom, now we get all these new skills. Awesome. And the bonus for finishing the level will be another weapon or offhand. So Mercury Ampule, that will be for our the Envious Shade, the toxic guy, druid guy. Thorny Spike Mace, so that'll be a main hand for the Alcahest guy, the heavy armor guy. And then Hesperidius Tome. That can be used by either the Curious Shade or the Weeping Shade. Does the Curious Shade need Logi? Will I replace this? Lots of questions to ask. Will I use earth damage or toxic damage? So every time you get presented with one of these choices, you have a little bit to think about. Especially if you are playing through the game again, because it's only 5 levels, and it's got this kind of like roguelike loot. So my hope is that it's interesting to go through it again with a different build, maybe. If you like JRPG combat, that might be something you would engage in, right? So what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It's important to note, I didn't mark it here, but Thorny Spike Mace is a one-handed weapon, so it goes with an offhand. Mercury Ampule is a two-handed weapon, so it has double the stat budget. But it takes up both hands. So, we're back in town. One thing I didn't get to implement was I want to have a talk tree for each of these guys that evolves depending on which mission you've most recently completed, what level you're on. Right now, we don't have the bandwidth for that because the Pirate Jam is over in 24 hours, and I wanted to make sure that this game is a finished game, as in, from the introduction level you just saw, you can play 4 more levels and you'll get to the last boss and you'll beat the game and you'll get the ending. So, unlike Asqueria Origins, this isn't a forever game, it's not a long-term project, it is done. Effectively, the structure of it is done, and we're just doing some polish. So, we can take a look. One thing you should probably do after finishing a mission is save your game. Also not implemented, there's a story recap button that will basically just tell you what the last thing you did was. So that kind of shows you the whole game loop, right? You start in town, you go out, up to the portal, you go relive some memories, your party members get a little stronger, you get some loot and some money, and you come back. So, let's talk to the innkeeper. $100 to have a nap. Seems reasonable. Now we can take a look at the crafting. So, we got a weapon for our pyrotechnist and a weapon for our apothecary in Mercury Ampule. But if we look at our alchemist, he's still got the simple stuff. And if we look at our umber chemist, she's still got the simple stuff. Ugh, glad I managed to hit the cough button in time. Yuck. Okay, so what do? we can talk to this guy. We want to buy a mixing rod, a mortar mace, and a pestle shield. And let's buy a rune too, actually. Now you can go into weapon synthesis and you can see how this crafting works. So, alchemical laser, there's one we have currently. We don't need to make that one again, but you can see we do have the materials for it, right? I'm going to take one of each of these kinds of motes, which we're dropping from our enemies, and it'll take a simple arquebus as the base item. So we wanted to make her better. Curious shade, so we can have a dark damage or a light damage. The dark damage one increases our magic attack a little more. The light damage one increases our luck a little more. Now luck and magic defense are used in the formula for healing spells from spirit alchemy. So long story short, this is the weapon you choose if you want to attack. This is the weapon you choose if you want to heal. Also dependent somewhat on your resources and what you're trying to do. Thorny Spike Mace. Looks like I don't have the materials for the guy in Mallet, so Thorny Spike Mace it is. And that used up my one iron, my willful iron, so now I can't afford the shields. That kind of sucks. I can afford a Luna rune, so I think I will. And then I can buy... So that one, 10% more light damage and healing, so my healing spells are elemental typed, which means if you have some kind of element amplification or reduction, the healing will be affected by that as well. This one doesn't amplify, but it does improve my healing, light damage and healing. I think I'm gonna go with the healer offhand and the attacking main hand. So pretty good chunk of increase here. And then this, not only is it a stat increase, it's gonna lower her defense a bit. Holding a book is more defensive than holding a rune stone. But it's gonna give her agility, which is very powerful in the system, and luck. Very good. Alright, and then this guy, Thorny Spike Mace, pretty straightforward, just gonna make him a little tougher, a little tankier, and do a little more damage. Luck is also a factor in evasion, critical evasion, physical evasion, magical evasion, so if you have high luck, you dodge more attacks. Makes sense, right? Okay, we're almost out of money here. Go to the armor guy. What do we have the resources for? These are light hats. Oh, because we got the... Yeah, we should get the solar sombrero for the pyromancer, and then that will be even more fire damage, so I need a simple cap for that. And then... Do I have flesh? Yes, I do. So, pound of flesh times 2 plus a medium armor gives you counterattack. I could buy 2 of those. I think I will do that. So, if I remove these simple jerkins, I can use them for crafting. No, not you. You. Unequip it. So I've unequipped those items because I want to use them in crafting. I didn't want to buy new ones. But I will buy 2 of these. I will buy the solar sombrero as well. You can actually equip right from here. So there we go. She's got 10% counterattack chance now. She's got 5% more flame damage, which is really nice. And he's got counterattack as well. So now at this point, I think I've got some equipment on everybody, right? I'm still using the glass charm, which kind of sucks. I'm too poor to buy anymore, so. And, well, that's pretty much that. So there's a few other things you can do. There's a moat exchange here, so you can see, I mentioned earlier, oh no, I ran out of iron. Okay, so I could buy, I could exchange for more iron if I wanted to. This person just sells items like consumable, regular items for money. Now this one right here, I might have to lower the cost of these because 10 seems like a lot. Maybe 5 would be better. But this essentially is your skill shop, right? So you can take 10 motes of fire, and you can turn it into an item which will teach you the fire spell. 10 motes of ice spell. 10 motes of lightning spell, and so on and so forth. There's also a second tier of them. Yeah, so then we have some different higher level spells here that you can acquire. And you may notice this tier stuff. So every time you beat a level, another tier of rewards opens up on these different vendors. So there's actually quite a lot of items, quite a lot. We also have the sublimator. So I could sell some stuff if I wanted to. I could sell the simple items if I wanted to. You can even sell the motes if you really want to, but they're not, it's not great. Not great. One thing, I'm kind of on the fence about this, but Nirvana Colostrum. This is produced when you cast any healing spell, any Sana spell. So that's Lumisana, Phytosana, Sanguisana. And then it is used by the higher level healing spells that you don't have access to yet at this level. You will in a map or two. But if you feel like you're not going to use them, you can just sell them. However, like I said, these are a cost. You will use these if you want to cast your area of effect, your party-wide healing spells. You will need these, so it is sort of advisable to save them. Okay, I'm just kind of showcasing what's left here. So you could buy some potions. I think this potion cost is too high. I might bring it down. I might get rid of the middle resource. Because I could afford 2. 2 potions is not a lot. So I might have to adjust that. One last thing I can show. So we have our music menu here. Any music that you've heard in-game will appear here. This will tell you which track number plays in which position in the game. Why do you need to know the track number? Because even if you haven't heard it, you can just change the track to whatever to have a different background music while you're here in camp. And as you can see, the Curious Scrying Orb, I did actually set this up, so it does have a little hint for each map. 3 memories for each of our 3 companions, and all the elements equally. Good to know. Now, I'm not going to spoil the whole game for you here. I said I was going to go about half an hour. Looks like I went close to 45 minutes to an hour or so. But you can see you will end up in a Memoria 2, Lamentation. Now, this one's a little interesting because there's 3 different sections, which are also made up of 3 different sections. So it's kind of a trip down memory lane. Each of these little maps represents something for one of the characters, and, well, you progress the story from there. Each map has a kind of different layout and theme and what you're doing. Like that last one was kind of a big dungeon crawler. This one's more of a, here's a 10 by 10 square, and you're going to do 10 by 10 squares over and over. Each one has some event that you're supposed to do, and you learn a little bit more about the backstory of the characters. But I think I'll wrap it up there. I'll probably pipe this over to YouTube, maybe reuse some of the footage, or maybe just upload the file as it is. Yeah, wow, I've been streaming for an hour and 12 minutes. So, we're burning the midnight oil on this one. It is 9 in the goddamn morning. I'm gonna go get some breakfast, run some errands, live my life a little bit, and then maybe I'll be back. But I should point out, if you want to try this game, it's live, it's free, it's browser playable with no downloads, so you don't have to be paranoid about, I don't know, malware or anything else that you might be afraid of. And again, my name is Darkstream. This has been a little preview of Asqueria Distilled Stole for the Pirate Jam 15. I'm gonna peace out now, maybe be back later. Thanks for watching. Peace!